We're here with Natalie and Lucas of Well Wisher, New Jersey band Well Wisher. Hello.
Hey.
How you doing?
How are you?
Great. How are you?
Great. Thanks for taking the time to sit down.
Sure.
Thank you so much.
And I wanted to start off by kind of asking you about the origins of the band. I know we met probably about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
When Dolly's was still a thing, which is a band I loved. And you had kind of already started before Dolly's ended, started doing Well Wisher as kind of a side project.
Yeah, so it was, we were working on songs. Dolly's was working on songs for our last album. And I had written a bunch of them that didn't quite fit the kind of Dolly's, like, throwbacky 60s songwriting type, thing. And Eric was like, these are kind of more like punk songs. Like, would you want to work on them together still?
That's Eric Romero, who was bass player.
Mm-hmm. I lived with him and his wife. And our friend Michael had just moved in as well. And we were just like, cool, we'll jam in the basement and work on the songs and then go to the lake house and just record them one night. Really, really casual. Very like, this is a fun outlet to see these songs through. And once everything started happening with Dolly's, I was like, I already have this started. They're already my songs. I'll just keep going with it. And it was like shortly after that I asked Lucas if he'd want to play, work on the songs and stuff. And I couldn't think of a better person to like get involved with a band, in a band with, than Lucas, because he worked. He was in Romp, and I love like the stuff that he adds to songs. And he's a positive person. So.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Well, backing up a little bit where you were just talking about, I don't know if I ever actually told you this, but I remember when you released the 2 Well Wisher songs, Mike had like told me a little bit about it because I was playing with Mike, and I was like just like thinking in my head, I was like, oh, I kind of like wish they needed a guitar player or something.
Wow.
Like I had thought that, but then I like really like trio, so I was like, no, like they're doing their thing, like that's cool, but it ended up like working out that way, so it was fun.
Yeah, so you went through a couple of, so you did those 2 singles, and I think it was a very early show of yours I saw at the Wonder Bar with Eric and Mike Linardi on drums.
Yeah, it could have been one of the first or second
with
shows.
Weekend Friends, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember that show,
Yeah.
And then you went through a couple lineups before you settled on this current one, which is you and Lucas and Lynsey and Mike Linardi's back.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chris Laporto, who plays with Can't Swim, he was in the band at one point. Our friend Kwame, a bunch of other people. And I think that it was at a time for me where I was really questioning, like, who my friends were. And kind of like a lot of different things in my life, and to have that many people willing to like put time and energy into my music just felt so nice at a time when I was very feeling vulnerable and scared about my future with music, and even if I wanted to continue playing music. So it's been awesome, and settling like on a final lineup like with Lynsey, with Lucas, and Mike, it feels so right. And it like took a while to get here, but it feels awesome.
And it was pretty much a solo outlet for you when it started. Do you write as a band now, or is it?
Yeah, so for This Is Fine, the songs would start off, with my melody, verse, choruses, whatever, and we'd complete the song, arrangement-wise and part-wise, like with everybody. So for this, I'm talking like as if the next one is even like an idea or a thought, but I have another like 12 songs that I've written for possible next thing, and I hope we can start demoing them and working on stuff together.
And you touched on this a little bit, but Dolly's was very much kind of a, I don't know, very like meticulous, kind of retro, 60s style pop. And Well Wisher definitely has the pop sensibility to it, but is a very different sound. is that something that you wanted to move away from, or is it just the way the songs kind of naturally fit?
It's I think that for me it was like I've always written songs like this, and anything that was used for Dollies, it was sort of like we had to like change them to make them fit that sound. So I feel like with Well Wisher stuff, it's almost like more true to how I wrote the songs in the first place.
Okay.
If that makes any sense. It wasn't like necessarily like a choice or a decision so much as like, you know, that's just the natural flow of like my process and stuff when I'm writing songs.
Yeah, I think a little bit of that also just comes from kind of like the formulation or like the configuration of the band. Like with Dollies, to me, it was very like these three musicians who were really gonna like stick out individually with their parts, where, you know, now we have two guitars, so it's like we're gonna have loud guitar songs where it's just there's big guitars. So I think that it like the configuration lends itself to that too. Like we're a 4-piece rock band kind of thing.
Right.
So
Yeah,
I think that helped a little bit. But I think there's like a little bit, like there's a couple songs where I feel like there's, you know, some of that like old school pop influence, but it's definitely more of like the alternative rock kind of thing.
Yeah, I think that like it'll never like all the work that we put into Dollies and those songs will always stay with me, because it was like really formative, I think, for how I write songs, you know, that process like of writing with Jeff and Eric. And but I also really like newer music. I'm a huge fan. I follow, you know, tons of new bands. I also love like 90s rock, the Pixies, Nirvana, like stuff like that. So I think that kind of also shines through in that way. So
and you made a couple of so the album This Is Fine, which is great, by the way.
Thank you.
You know, it's clearly very personal.
Yeah.
And it's I mean it comes from a difficult time, but there's also kind of like a hopefulness to it, where it seems like it's a real, you know, transition. And I mean, the album cover is, you know, a doll kind of on fire.
Yeah.
So you definitely made a break with that, but have moved on. So was that kind of a little bit of a recovery process, or or just a process?
Yeah. It was like during that time, like I was saying before, I felt really vulnerable, and I didn't really know who I was outside of the context of that band, which was scary to me. I was confused and really hurt, and I think we all were. And the whole record is just me sort of being like, am I okay on my own? Can I do any of this? Like, you know, in any capacity, like, can I write a good song without these two other people?
Yeah.
And a lot of it is about the breakup. But yeah, I'd like to think that there is this like hope that comes through, which was me sort of like finding true love, like in myself and with another person.
Yeah, and I get the sense like a song like Right as Rain, and I think there are probably other ones on it where, you know, when you're saying this is fine, you know, or, you know, it's better than okay or whatever, that it's almost like if I repeat this to myself enough, then it will be true.
Yeah.
You know?
I was sitting in my old apartment, which not a great situation. Just, you know, we had bugs, we had like there's like lots of issues. We were above Georgie's.
Okay.
And this was like loud and just like chaotic, and I was going through all this like confusing stuff and hurt, and I wrote that song in like a night, because I was sitting there just like, I think it was like after the second time my cat had gotten fleas. I was I was you know, just sitting there, and I was like, through all of this, even though this is some of the darkest times in my life, I know now more than ever that I'm gonna make it through. With people that I know love me, and you know, I think I was like really learning to like love myself, honestly, like yeah. So.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
And you, I mean, there are some really positive songs on the album, and you just made a video for one of them, Sweet, which came out on Valentine's Day. It's very pink.
Yeah.
And it's, even back with Dolly's, you always did this. It features a lot of your kind of friend group.
Yeah.
And can you just talk a little bit about, Okie Dokie Studio did that, and it looks great. And can you just talk a little bit about making it?
Yeah, sure. It was, we, like, for that song was one of the most natural songs for me. Like, it just, like, flowed out, and I think I wrote it, like, in the car. Like, I didn't even, like, have a guitar, I don't think. Like, I think it was just, like, I came up with the melody and stuff, and, like, and the idea for the song. And it in its core, in its essence, it's supposed to just be, like, the most straightforward thing ever. Like, yeah, it's sweet that you love me, that people love me just in general. And I wanted that to shine through, like, in the video. Like, I was, like, talking to them. It was, like, no metaphors. Like, no, like, it's just, like, straight up, like, eating candy with our friends. Right. And
yeah, what are you drinking? What is that?
I don't know. I was trying to figure out the flavor. I think it was, like, a cotton candy flavor thing, but...
It's, like, a bright red soda?
Or I think, pink. Yeah. Mine was pink. Someone's was red. I don't know. But, yeah, I don't know. Jenna pulled together all this candy and stuff. But it was fun making that video because I was, like, especially... Now, I don't know why I had this thought when we were making it, but when... Now that I'm getting, like, a little bit older and, like, I don't really like to go to parties and, like, drink too much anymore. And I'm, like, we're like, at this event and, like, all our friends are there and we're kind of just, like, hanging out, not really, like, drinking, you know, just, like, enjoy. And I'm, like, this is, like, a good party that I want to be at, like, aside from, like, that we're, like, working or, like, making a video. So it was, like, a good experience to be with our friends who care about the band. And it was very, like, hey, if you can pop in, if you have time. Some of our friends couldn't make it, whatever, but... It was very, like, organic, like, do whatever you want on the couch. Obviously, that shows in the video. So, yeah, Jenna did a good job coordinating it and making it super organized. And it was fun, yeah.
Yeah, it was really fun. It was fun to watch.
Yeah, you never know how videos like that are going to turn out. Because there's not really even that much concept behind it. It's kind of like everyone have fun. So, you're kind of at the mercy of, like, how well your friends kind of perform there. But I think everyone did kind of a good job.
Yeah. I think that... It's always nerve-wracking because you don't know what to expect, but the first time I watched it through to the last time I watched it through, I was smiling the whole time. And I think Jenna just killed it. She did a great job. And
well, if it can make you do that as an artist, that's
exactly it, because, you know, I'm usually just sitting there judging and, like, I look weird there, like, whatever, you know, and just for me to just be like, this is exactly what I wanted, and and it felt good.
And then another big change is that you play guitar as a front person now, and you were always the drummer in Dolly's, and I think I saw. Were you selling your drums?
I have a set, one set I'm selling.
All right, so you're not totally abandoning drums.
No.
But what is your first love of those instruments?
Tough question.
Yeah.
I love playing drums. I'm definitely way better at playing drums than I am at playing guitar. But I think that music for me, it's finally all clicking. You know, it's almost like I've been playing music for 20 years at this point in my life, and I'm just realizing now that it's not the technical skill-based aspect of it that I like. It's the creative thing. It's the cathartic thing. It's the expressing yourself, you know, that I love to do, and being a part of original music in any capacity is what I love to do. So songwriting, I think, has taken a forefront in my life. So
you don't write a lot on drums.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, I mean, I'll come up with, like, cool beats and stuff and, like, record it. But for me, song comes first. So even if I'm working with a group with drums, I am thinking about parts for that particular song, for that moment, So I don't, I don't really write on drum. Yeah, it's like, and guitar for me has just taken that creative kind of space for me, where I'm able to.
From like a more of like a bandmate perspective, it's nice too, just like the little things of like, I know a lot of times in bands, like if someone starts a song off, they'll not be in the right tempo. So Natalie as a drummer has all that stuff down, so it's nice. But yeah, and also as far as communicating with the band members, especially with some lineup changes and stuff, it's good to have, a drummer playing guitar that can kind of relate that kind of stuff. So it's I feel like it's the opposite of like, if you hear someone say like, oh, he's a guitar player just playing bass, like he's not really a bass player. It's like kind of opposite of that, because it's like get some good things out of that drum experience, because guitar can be kind of loose and fast, and it's good to like have some structure and musical knowledge.
Yeah, we have a fill-in for like our South by tour, and even just practicing with him, it's easier to just say like it comes in on the end of 4, and he like knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like little things like that.
Expert
It's easy
counters.
to communicate.
Yeah, like for me,
Good
I'm just
accounting.
like-
Good accounting.
Yeah, for me, I'm just like, it goes like bop bop.
Yeah.
So it doesn't translate.
Do this,
super
do this,
well.
pop, pop, pop. Do this.
Yeah. Well, and so speaking of South by Southwest, you're going on tour starting next week with Week and Friends, who I saw you play that very early show with. So you have kind of a history with that band.
Oh yeah.
And so can you just talk about how like the tour came about and what you're looking forward to?
Yeah, they I think Sonia hit us up and she was like, we're doing these tours. Do you want to do all of it or any of it with us? And we were like, yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, we have
As
such a
simple as
blast
that,
with them,
yeah.
and like they're one of my favorite bands. Like the record they put out last year is amazing. Every song on it is a great song.
That record's called Common Blah on Don Giovanni.
That's right.
And yeah, I've known them now going on like 5-6 years. We played their wedding.
Yeah.
So, we love them, and it's going to be a blast for sure. So.
And have you ever played Austin before or been to Austin?
No.
I'm trying to think what the furthest we've been as a band is. I think it's only like Virginia or something, right? So we're going pretty far out. Yeah, I'm excited about the tour because, especially being like more of like a DIY person, which we do have a couple like, in between days off where we book some DIY shows, but it's going to be cool. We did like a weekend with Weekend Friends, different words.
Yeah.
But, and, so we got kind of a taste of like how the tour is going to be like, and it's really cool because they're building a good following now. The record is amazing, so it'll be cool to be hanging out with them, listening to those songs for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
And then one of your shows at South by Southwest, you're playing with us. I'm not playing. We're hosting a show at Hard Luck Lounge with a whole bunch of bands. And do you know how many shows you have in Austin?
I think right now we have 3 confirmed for sure.
Okay. Yeah, might be adding some last minute, but definitely 3. Yeah.
So the one with us is on the 14th at the Hard Luck Lounge, and you have another show that day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're gonna have a blast.
Yeah, we're excited for that one. A lot of friends on it, especially Yanmar Biff filled in for our band for a little bit, so he's a homie. Yeah, and we're excited to have some New Jersey fam down in. And I saw like
and I think
Brooklyn bands and stuff on it too, so it'll be.
And I think on that show, just about everybody from Asbury who's kind of representing down there is on that show.
That's great.
So that'll be great.
We'll be very far from home, but I'm sure the show will feel like home. Yeah.
And I think there's taco trucks and a fried chicken truck there. So.
Yeah, I've never been down to Austin at all, and especially South by Southwest. It's always been a dream. So.
Yeah, it'll be great. Well, thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
That was what I had. And I think Natalie's going to do a song for us, so we'll set that up.
Cool.
And thanks a lot for taking your Sunday morning to spend it with us here.
We appreciate everything you do. Supported all our bands like over the years. So
thanks.
We always appreciate you a ton.
I like to support good bands.
Appreciate that.
So
thank you.
Thanks again.
Yeah. Thank you. Pocket
the sand. Little desert in my hands as the water rose. The darkness ate our toes.